Hello, this is Mrs. Brown, and today we're going to practice converting between rates. Now, before we talk about that, I want to review something about multiplying fractions. Remember that when we multiply fractions, if I was doing 4/5 times 3/4, I can do 4 times 3 is 12, and 5 times 4 is 20, and then afterwards 12 and 20 are both divisible by 4, and I'd simplify by 4. Or remember, you learned that if there was something in the numerator and something in the denominator, when you had multiplication, it was only multiplication, you could simplify ahead of time. So I could divide by 4 ahead of time, and instead of getting 12/20ths and having to simplify by 4 afterwards, like this, I could go straight kind of to my answer, which would be 3/5. So I could simplify as long as there was something in the numerator and something in the denominator that was the same. This is how we're going to convert between rates. We're going to use this same skill, the same knowledge of having something in the numerator, canceling something in the denominator, in order to be able to convert between rates. Okay, so let's take a look at an example. So let's say we have 25 miles per hour and we want to know how many feet per minute. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start by writing it as a fraction. So we have 25 miles per hour. And I want to get to feet per hour. So in other words, I want to get rid of miles and change that to feet. Well, think about what I just said. If we want to get rid of miles, I have to have miles in the denominator, and I want to get to feet. So look at my conversion. I've got 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. So if I say 1 mile here, these will cancel, and I put my 5,280 feet in the numerator. I don't have to decide if I should multiply or divide these numbers. It's already decided for me based on the units. That's why this is so much easier in order to convert this way. Because if there's miles in the numerator and you want to get rid of it, miles goes in the denominator. And so now what's going to happen? Well, miles cancels miles, and I'm left with feet. So I just do 25 times 5,280. And this is where your calculator comes in very handy. So that's 132,000 feet, and 1 times 1 is 1 per 1 hour. Okay. Let's say I wanted to keep going. Let's say I wanted to know how many feet per second. How would I do that? Well, let's start. We've already got the feet part done. So I'm going to start with that per hour. Now the same thing. I want to get rid of hours. And I need to get to seconds. So, well, maybe I don't know off the top of my head how many seconds are in an hour, but I know how many minutes are in an hour, and I know how many seconds are in a minute. So let's do it that way in 2 steps. So if I want to get rid of hours, hours is currently in the denominator, so I need to put an hour in the numerator. Well, I know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes, so I'm going to put 60 minutes in the denominator. But I want seconds, so I'm not done. Okay? As it stands right now, I've gotten rid of hours because I had 1 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator. So I go to the next step. I want to get rid of minutes. Well, I know that 1 minute is 60 seconds, so I'm going to put my 1 minute in the numerator because it's in the denominator and I want it to go away, and put my 60 seconds down here. Then what happens is I can eliminate minutes. Well, what's left on the top? Feet, which I want because I want feet per second, and seconds in the denominator, so we're good to go. Now we just do the problem. This times 1 times 1. So when I look at that, that would just be 132,000 feet. Sorry about that. Divided by 60 times 60 is 3,600 seconds. And so now my final step is just to divide that out. And when I use my calculator and divide that out, I get 36.6 repeating. So I'm just going to round that to 36.7 feet per second. Okay. So again, as you're looking at this, the key idea is you use your conversion rates. Okay. And if it's in the numerator and you want to get rid of it, put it in the denominator. If it's in the denominator and you want to get rid of it, you put it in the numerator. Okay, so let's do another example. Okay. Sometimes you'll be able to do it in 1 step like we did here. Sometimes it'll take a couple of steps. like we did in the second part, okay? So you just kind of do what needs to be done in order to get where you need to. Sometimes you may know some of the rates, but not all of them. And so here's going to be an example, okay? Let's say I have 8 yards per second. So 8 yards per second means 8 yards per 1 second. And I want to convert that to miles per hour. So my goal at the end is miles per hour. Well, I'm looking at my list here, and I don't actually have the number right off the top of my head for yards into a mile. So I can't really go straight there. I mean, I could look it up. It's really easy. It's there. There is a number. But if I'm just using what I have, I do know how many yards are in a foot, and I know how many feet are in a mile. So I could do 2 conversions to get there if I didn't know that exact number. I didn't have the exact number that I needed. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start by dealing with yards. I'll come back to seconds in a minute. So to deal with yards, I know I have 1 yard is to 3 feet. And then I want to get rid of feet because I want miles. So I put the 5,280 feet per 1 mile. That gets me where I need to go in terms of the distance. Now I need the time. It's in seconds, and I want to go to hours. So what do? Seconds is in the denominator. So I want to put seconds in the numerator. What do I know? I know there's 60 seconds in a minute. And then I get rid of minutes. There's 60 minutes in 1 hour. Again, if your denominator is minutes, you put minutes in the numerator to cancel it. So you're not guessing, should I multiply, should I divide? It's setting it up, the operations that you should be doing by making sure that units that you want to cancel, if it's in the numerator, you put the unit in the denominator. If it's in the denominator, you put it in the numerator so that they're going to cancel. So when I look, I've got yards canceling yards, feet canceling feet, which means I'm left with miles. Boom, that's what I want. I've got seconds canceling seconds and minutes canceling minutes, which leaves me with hour, which is what I want. So I have all of the information I need in order to find the answer. 8 times 3 times 1 times 60 times 60. And when you multiply all of that out on your calculator, you get this number. Okay? And that would be in miles. Divided by 1 times 1 times 5,280 times 1 is 5,280. And we are left with hours. Okay? So your last step is to do that division problem. So when you divide that out, you get 16.3636, so on. And so round it to the nearest tenths place. That's 16 4/10 miles per hour. So again, using that idea, if you have something in the numerator and you want it to go away, you put that part of the conversion into the denominator. They'll cancel. And you keep doing that over and over again until you get to the units that you are trying to get to. Okay? I hope this helps, and have a fabulous day.